everyone, and welcome to the next portion of the in-depth analysis segment of this course. And today we are going to be going over confluences, okay? So what is a confluence, okay? A confluence is basically where you have multiple things added together to give you the answer to a problem or give you validity or validation as to why something is getting ready to happen or why something is happening, okay? So in the market, it's very important that you have multiple confluences, multiple confirmations to give you the reason that it is that you are going to take a trade and execute that trade so that you have confidence in that trade. So what we're going to be going over today, we are going to be going over trend lines, divergence, and we are going to be going over zones. Okay, so these are very, very critical confluences that I use to literally help me analyze the market and execute my trades. Okay, now the first one I'm going to go over is trend lines. We talked about this in the basics part of this course, where we talked about how 2 points validate a trend line. So ultimately you need 2 points. So right here I have point 1, point 2, and I'm going to draw this line into the future. All right. Now, where you draw it into the future does not matter when it comes to where the market retests. I want you to focus on the 2 points that is validating the trend line, not what happens after the trend line is broken. Okay. Now, here's the thing about trend lines though. Anytime you have a trend line on major structure, okay, you always have a minor structure trend line break and retest that you can take advantage of. So as we're going over these confluences, mind you, confluences give you confirmation as to why you get in the trade, but this is also going to be going over entries because it's very important that you do not enter the market until you have the break and retest of structure. So right here, this is a trend line. We have point 1, point 2, then the trend line breaks. I'm going to highlight this break with a red box so that we know it's broken. Then it retests. Anytime the market retests, that is your validity or validation as to why you get in the trade. So break, that retest is your confirmation that this is no longer going into a downtrend. All right. Now, when I said that you always have a minor structure break and retest that occurs before that major structure, if I break this structure down, so we have this right here, downtrend turning into an uptrend. If I go here, remember, just like assignment number 2, where we had the structure of the market. Hold on. Let me go back to our higher time frame. Nope, that wasn't it. All right, here. Let's go to our 30-minute. Okay, so if I look at this structure here, I see that this right here, we have a trend that was broken and retested again. All right, so I'm going to draw a trend line on the top of this trend line here. Now, mind you, I just want to say this. When you draw this, okay, when you have multiple points, like let's say this point here, you have to make sure you're understanding which trend line that you're drawing, because sometimes you have multiple trend lines inside of trends or whatever the case may be. But what you want to go to is the majority of price. All right. So if I have my first point here and my second point here, I'm not really focused on this down here. I'm only going to be focused on my first 2 points. All right. So again, I'm only focused on my first 2 points. And then for this minor structure, we have a minor structure break here. And then we have a minor structure retest here. All right. So the first part of what you're going to be doing for your homework is you are going to find five trend line breaks and retest on major structure, then identify the minor structure break and retest that occurs before that major structure break. Okay, so you're gonna find 5 trend line breaks and retests on major structure, which is what we did on the 1 hour. So point 1, point 2, draw it into the future. Then you will always have a minor structure break and retest that occurs before that major structure. So that is the first part of what I want you guys to do and go through and practice, okay? That's very, very key, it's very, very critical, and it's very, very important, all right? Now, the next part that I use in regards to confluences is something called divergence. So we have an example right here, and I'm gonna do some examples from scratch also, but divergence is basically where you have 2 things, divergence, 2 things doing the opposite. That's my own definition, but you have 2 things doing the opposite. So price will be going in the opposite direction as the RSI. All right, so what is the RSI? If you guys don't know how to put that on your chart, what you're gonna do is come here where it says indicators and strategies, and you're just gonna type in, if you don't have it starred, relative strength index, okay? This is the only indicator that I use in regards to trading and marking up, and basically, again, I use it to be able to see divergence. So again, it's 2 things doing the opposite. So this price is going down right here. The RSI is going up. And what this indicates is that a reversal is coming. So you have 2 things doing the opposite. Price will be going in the opposite direction of the RSI. And it indicates a reversal. All right. Now, the next part of what I want you guys to do for your homework is literally find 5 examples of divergence as well. So if I look right here, you guys see, I just pinpointed one. And once you train your eyes to see this, like a lot of this stuff is being able to train your eyes to see what you need to see in order to literally make money from the market. So once you guys train your eyes to actually see it, it will literally pop out at you just like this popped out at me. So we have this price literally shifting down, okay, into a channel, and then we have this divergence right here, and then the market literally reverses. So we have this downtrend now going into an uptrend. Divergence can happen on any time frame. It's not one time frame over another. They literally can happen on any time frame. Again, this is another one. So we have this price literally pushing up here, and then we have the RSI literally pushing down right here. And as you guys see, this all went into a sell. Again, it happens over and over and over again. You just have to be able to see it. Let's try to find some more. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. This is kind of an example also. So you see here, we have this price that's literally pushed down here. And then we have this RSI, we have this divergence literally pushing up here. All right, so again, it's just 2 things doing the opposite. And also you can find it on any different time frame. Just know that the smaller the time frame, the smaller the move. The higher the time frame, the longer the move. So just like we talked about at the very, very beginning, the difference between major and minor structure is extremely important. Being able to see your minor structure and recognizing it as minor structure, and being able to see your major structure and recognizing it as major structure. I'm just going through trying to find some more. So for instance, this is a minor structure move right here. So we have this RSI. We have this price literally pushing up right here. And then you see right here, we have this RSI going downward. again, it's just an indication that a reversal is coming. We had this push up, this push down, and then as you guys see, this is a sell. Then, of course, once you add in your fibs, which we will be doing next, I'm actually going to show you guys in the next assignment kind of how to combine all of this stuff. All right, but it's very, very important that you are able to see it individually first. So the first step we had was the trend line breaks and retest. So the first thing, again, let's go back to that 1 hour time frame where we had, where was it? And I have so many examples, like literally of structure on here, but we had this major structure. Okay, so we had this major structure trend line, and then we broke it down into minor structure. And on the next assignment, I'm kind of gonna explain like the minor structure buy that you take advantage of before the major structure, but I wanna make sure you guys understand everything separately first. So this is the minor structure, break, retest. This goes into that whole buy situation. And then we have the major structure that happens after. Okay, so again, find 5 trend line breaks and retests on major structure, then identify the minor structure break and retest that occurs before the major structure break. And then the next thing is divergence. So what I want you guys to do for this assignment is, again, find 5 examples of divergence. All right, now don't pay attention to all the other stuff I have on the chart. I'm one of those people that, like, I literally track everything in regards to the market. And once you track stuff in the market, that is how you're able to gain your confidence and literally execute all your trades, because you see it happen over and over and over and over and over. So when people talk about back testing, literally that's what this is. Anytime you look at past data to see what's gonna happen in the future, you are back testing, okay? Now, the next part, remember we said we are going over zones, okay? So a zone is nothing more than support and resistance in one particular area, okay? Again, a zone is nothing more than support and resistance in a particular area. So let's stay here. Let's say I'm looking at this structure right here. Opposed to me putting like a huge line, kind of equivalent to that very first assignment. Mind you, remember the very first foundation assignment, we talked about how we need to understand what's the important parts of support and resistance that's gonna hold up, okay? Now, when we use zones, it's just nothing more than support and resistance in a particular area. So opposed to me putting a line, because none of this price back here has that area, opposed to me putting a line, all I would do is literally put a zone, all right? And also, zones are key and critical when it comes to these areas, because mind you, do you see how it's not just one touch and then the market literally like respected one particular area? You see how we came into this area and then we pushed away, and then we came and tested as support again, and then we pushed away, we rejected. We had wick exhaustion right here. Here we closed on this level of support, right? So you want to understand really the zones, right? So this is a zone that is literally support that then breaks and then tests as resistance and then goes into that sell, but it is the zone of a particular area, okay? So support and resistance zones, again, are just support and resistance in one particular area. I use them on every time frame under the 4 hours. So I use it on the 4 hour, I use it on the 1 hour, I use it on the 30 minutes. Sometimes I even use it on the 15 minute, just depending. But again, it's just when you have support and resistance in one particular area. So for instance here, this is a whole zone that I would classify on my chart. So what I want you guys to do when it comes to zones is literally classify 5 zones on 4 hour structure, 1 hour structure, and 30-minute structure. Now, on the last assignment, I'm going to show you how I kind of color coordinate everything, but particularly me for my charts, I use green for everything for the 4 hour, I use blue for everything on the 1 hour, and I use purple zones for the 30-minute and below. That is just so when I'm actually trading, I kind of am able to like understand, just like we talked about with the monthly and the weekly, what my key areas are. Of course, my 4 hour support is going to be stronger than my 30-minute support. So when I have support that's easily broken, if I'm looking at my zones and being able to see, okay, I drew it on this minor structure, it's not going to hold up well, then I understand, okay, that's where I am in the market. So nothing more, I mean, honestly, I can explain it right here with this particular area, right? So we have this little, let's go to 30-minute structure. You see how we have this little minor structure zone right here that literally is a whole level of support right here. These are just small zones that I would have like inside of my chart. And once you guys continuously trade, like my actual, if you see right here to the side, it says course pairs. I'm showing you guys on really clean charts, okay? My actual trading charts and my day-to-day trading charts. You see this money list right here? These are, and don't be scared, but these are literally markups of actual trades from the past. And this is what you guys are ultimately going to turn into as a market analyst, where you have literally trend lines, zones, divergence, all these different things pretty much everywhere. And then I'm going to show you guys really at the end how to add all this stuff together. But these are my zones. But what I'm doing for you guys right now is really breaking everything down step by step so that you grasp every single concept individually. So I just want to recap today's or this actual assignment and this portion of the course. So remember, the first thing that we said we were going to do was find 5 trends on major structure, find 5 trend line breaks and retests on major structure, then identify the minor structure break and retest that happens before that major structure break and retest. The second part is to identify 5 examples of divergence on each of the pairs that you trade, okay? Divergence, again, is 2 things doing the opposite. And then lastly, find 5 zones on your 4 hour structure, your 1 hour structure, and your 30-minute structure, and then color coordinate them based off of those zones. You guys already know, again, from assignment number 2, which was our structure assignment, the difference between your 4 hour, your 1 hour, and your 30 minutes. So again, all of these things are confluences. I'm going to show you guys on the next section how you add this all together, but it's very, very important that you understand it individually first. And remember, our trend line breaks and retests are our entries, okay? Anytime you have a blue box, that's saying that you will enter the market in that area, okay? So just make sure you keep that in mind. Make sure you take heed to that. So for instance, let's say I could just see, really, this is just pointing out at me to just show you guys. So let's say I put a trend line here, okay? Literally, we have our 0.1, 0.2. Now, again, when I talk about the majority of price, you want to see like, okay, once I have that, this was that second point. That's why I connected this right here. This wicked above, but it closed below. So if you guys are wondering why didn't I put it at the top of this line, these were my first 2 points, just like on the last assignment or like on that first previous example I just showed you. These were the first 2 points. This wicked above a little bit. Then we have basically the break and retest of this, again, zone area. Okay, so I would literally, all of this, I really need to go up a time frame because this would be like a 1 hour zone that would be here. Okay, so practice all of those things and I will see you guys on the next lesson. The next lesson will be a little bit, I feel like it will bring everything together. Right now, I want you to look at this as making a cake, okay? Because I know that there are a lot of different concepts, but I want you to think about making a cake. If you make a cake and you put all of the ingredients on a counter, you have, let's say, flour, you have eggs, you have sugar, you have vanilla extract, you have all these different things, and individually, they have nothing to do with each other, right? But when you add them all together, it's this wonderful tasting cake. So practice everything individually, okay, before you look at this next assignment that I'm going to show you guys, because it's very, very critical and key that you're able to see it individually before you see it combined. Trading is very, very simple and it's very, very easy, but you have to be able to break it down step by step so that you don't get lost, so that you don't get confused, and so that you can literally apply the information. So I hope you guys learned a lot. Make sure you guys practice, practice, practice. Again, you have to train your eyes to see this stuff, and I will see you guys on the next lesson. Hi, you guys. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Okay, so we are getting ready to add together everything we have learned thus far. All right, it's very important before we move on to the next part of the course that you guys really, really understood everything in totality that we've gone over. So the very first assignment, remember we went over the foundation of our charts. We will come back to that in the last lesson of the in-depth technical analysis portion of this course, okay? But right after that, we went over structure. And remember, as I've mentioned before, structure is very, very important when identifying your trends. So remember, we found our uptrends and our downtrends in regards to our 4-hour, our 1-hour, and our 30-minute structure. And we identified the trends inside of our overall trends. Then we saw how Fibonacci piggybacked off of that, okay? So the only way, actually, let me put this back on here. The only way you can draw your fibs is if you understand the trends, right? And remember, when we draw our fibs, we start from point A to point B, all right? The highest point to the lowest point. Then price is gonna pull back, and based off of that pullback level, we see where price goes into the future. And I know you guys are like, okay, well, this didn't pull past the 50%, so why is it hitting negative 61.8? We'll talk about that in a second. But directly after that, the last assignment that we went over our confluences. So we went over our trend lines, we went over the break and retest of trend lines, which is literally our entries for entering our trades and our confirmations for entering. Then we went over our zones, and we also went over divergence. So now we're getting ready to add together everything that you have learned thus far, so you guys are able to see the flow of the market and how I read the market. If you have not been on Sunday night calls, you guys, this is literally the weekly coaching calls that you guys will be able to tap into. I know some of you guys are brand new. Some of you guys have been following me for a while, so you aren't new. You are not new to the calls or whatever the case may be. So if you're not new, you know I always have my charts marked up. And as a trader, you will always have your charts marked up for your future trades, okay? But what I'm gonna do is act as though we're gonna go back in the past, and again, this is called back testing. We're gonna go in the past and act as though the future is not there, all right? So I'm gonna delete this, I'm gonna delete this, because technically, remember, when we are trading, all we have is point A to point B, so point 1, point 2, draw the line into the future. And then what happens after that point happens based off of overall structure, okay? Now, again, I am going to explain why this didn't go past the 50% in a few, but I want to really break down this structure here first, okay? So if we look at this structure, this is a 1-hour trend. We have point A to point B, price pulls back. Then it hits our TP1 and TP2. So you guys already know our negative 61.8 is our reversal. So we're already looking for buys right here. Okay, now you're never entering the market off of major structure. You're always entering the market off of minor structure. So this minor structure will be your 15 minutes, your 30 minutes. So if we look at this here, we clearly see that this minor structure is starting to break. All right, now before you take any trades, just like I do on Sunday night calls, and this is going to make sense on the last assignment that we're going to go over, you will always have your charts marked up before you execute any trades. So this is really just telling you where the market is going, where it's flowing, so that you're aware. Okay, so we see this divergence, we see negative 61.8. That is two confluences telling me that I am literally looking for a buy. I'm looking for a reversal. Remember, divergence is two things doing the opposite, and we're expecting the market to push in the opposite direction. And then remember, negative 61.8 is your reversal level on your take profit, all right? So here we are now, right here, we're literally at a trend line. But this is the thing. Sometimes trend lines can be broken, sometimes trend lines can be respected, okay? So if this was real life, you would kind of have to see, okay, is it going to play around on this trend line, or is it going to push one more time back down here? And that would kind of give you an understanding, okay, that trend line is ready to break or is not. But we're going to play this out and we're going to go step by step. So let's just play this out a little bit. Also, something that I do want to say, before I forget, I would have a zone drawn here. This is a minor structure zone because this is a level of support that was not broken. The only time it broke, okay, was literally when it tested this negative 61.8. So we have exhaustion, price tried to come this low down, and then it pushed back up, which means that there were no sellers in this market. We were in a buyer's market. Well, not a buyer's market, but the buyers took over right here, which gave us seller's exhaustion, which is kind of indicating, okay, a buy is coming soon, all right? Then we had here our actual test of our negative 61.8, and then price came right back up and closed at this level, all right? Now, next, if you see this trend line right here that is broken, I'm gonna play this out. So you guys see this trend line broke, right? So here is where we have our break. And I do want to just clarify something. You always want to wait for the trend line to push away and come back. So if this trend line was only right here, where you just had these few candles sitting on this trend line, but we didn't have an actual push away and come back down, then that would not be valid as a retest. But the fact that we pushed away and came back to this area validates our retest of that structure, all right? Now, we're looking at minor structure, okay? So I'm gonna put a baby fib on here. As you guys know, based off of how I trade, all right? We use minor structure fibs and major structure fibs. Okay, which again is assignment number 2, where you had structure. You have your 30-minute structure inside of your overall structure. So I know based off of 3 things that I'm going to take a buy right here. The 3 things again are divergence, negative 61.8, but also we are at this support level right here, and we broke and tested the trend line. We broke and retested the trend line, but also tested a level of support, okay? That's multiple confirmations and confluences to lead us to the fact that we are going up. Not only that, the negative 27 is in direct alignment with, and I'm gonna scoot the overall fib over for a second so this doesn't confuse you guys. All right, so the negative 27 is in alignment with the overall major structure trend line bounce. So you see that this negative 27 is literally at this trend line bounce. So if I'm analyzing on Sunday nights, you guys know I use bars pattern right here. The bars pattern is just a projection of what's gonna happen in the future. So I use it so that I literally just mark all my trades of what I'm expecting to happen for the week. I take the trades, of course, after they play out, just like I mentioned previously before on our previous assignment. When I am looking at and back testing and literally see everything play out back to back to back to back to back, that gives you your confidence to place larger lot sizes so that you can make those thousands and thousands of dollars per day. All right, so this breaks here, retest here. This is your entry. Of course, you would carry this up. Boom, boom, boom. This is playing out. So it's playing out, playing out, playing out. Ultimately, we hit our TP1. Now, remember, like I said on the last assignment, the minor structure is the right now money. So this is the trade that we want to take for our intraday trade, Okay, scalpers, this is your move. Intraday traders, this is your move before the overall structure. Because remember, this is the minor structure break and retest. So last assignment, you guys had to find 5 minor structure and break and retest before the 5 major structure break and retest. All right, now, this is the major, this large black line, and then we have the minor in which we just executed this trade off of, okay? We hit our TP1. Once we hit our TP1, I would literally have my take profit set on my MetaTrader 4. I would not try to wait to see, hey, what's gonna happen or whatever the case may be, because I'm a super busy person. If you guys are not so busy, and let's say you identify yourself as a scalper where you like have the time to literally sit down and just watch the computer, if you identify yourself as a scalper, then by all means, if you see a lot of bullish momentum, which means that there was an exhaustion right here for sellers as if this is like pushing back down, because remember, anything can happen in the market. So if this had not, let's say, had all of this bullish momentum, this could have came here, tested this negative 27, then pushed back down before the actual break and retest out of here. But again, right here, we see there is a lot of bullish momentum, I'm sorry. So we see a lot of bullish momentum right here. Then ultimately that bullish momentum breaks our major structure trend line. At that major structure trend line, we're gonna identify this as a break. So I'm just gonna put this as a red box. Remember, our breaks are red, our retests are blue. So this is our major structure break. And again, if you're a scalper, you can carry that up to your negative 61.8 because it hit our 61.8 right here. And at that point, you will be done. Now, I wanna use this as a learning lesson also, because this is something that I talk about in the psychology portion of the course when I talk about greed. I don't care how far the market pushed beyond your take profit level, okay? Sometimes you have manipulation in the market. Sometimes there's news. You never, ever, 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 ever want to trade beyond that point, because this is the thing. You would have just lost all your profits that you just made right here on this buy. Not only that, there were 3 things telling you that the market was about to drop. What are they? Okay, I want you guys to think about it before I give you the answer. I'm going to give you a quick little 10 seconds to think about it. And I'm going to write them over here to the side. So number 1, we know our negative 61.8 is our reversal. All right, this is our minor structure. Not only that, we have divergence here. And then last but not least, we had a break but no retest. So we know that the market had to come back down and retest this area. Now let's talk about why this 1 hour trend did not hold up, all right? In regards to why didn't it pull past the 50%? Remember I told you guys I was gonna get to that? So you remember how I told you how you always have the overall structure inside of minor structures overall structure outside of the minor structures that are inside making up the entire trend, all right? This is y'all's last homework example, so let me scoop both of these. This is your notes from today. So I want to show you something. This is the overall structure. Here to here. Point A to point B. This pulls back to 88.6. I don't want this current fib to confuse you, so I'm going to delete it for now. We have this structure. If you see this, point A to point B. Price pulls back. Remember, our 88.6 is slow, so we had all of this consolidation in this range, all right, before we hit our new lows. So we have our impulse, correction, continuation, all right? I'm gonna play this out some more because ultimately all it did on major structure was literally hit our negative 61.8 for our overall structure. All right, let me line this up. All right, there we go. So we had our overall negative 61.8 for our major structure, which was, of course, again, our reversal. So this was the minor structure. The fib that I deleted, this was the structure inside of structure. All right, so we still hit our negative 61.8, but this was a minor structure. So just like I talked about when we did the fibs the first time, when you have a minor structure, it doesn't apply with all of the same rules because minor structure can easily be broken because ultimately we still want to come up with the entire full picture. All right, so I hope that made sense. So if you were taking advantage of this minor structure trade right here, this literally would have been a total of 60 pips. Okay, that's your intraday trade. All right, then once this plays out in totality, boom, 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 I'm gonna scoop this up, fast forward, and let that play out. Right there, this overall structure, I'm gonna delete the fib so that doesn't confuse you guys. If you guys see, literally, we have nothing but 23.6 pullbacks, which means, again, continuation. But that overall structure played out for 257 pips, which is like basically your longer trade move. So remember, like the last assignment, when you guys did your trend line breaks and retests, you always have a major structure trend line, okay, that breaks and retests, but always before a major structure break and retest, there's a minor structure move that you can take advantage before that. All right, and I don't mean to be redundant, but again, I just want to make sure you guys are understanding these concepts in totality and actually being able to really grasp and follow the flow of money and follow the flow of the market and really follow these technical analysis that I'm talking about right now. So that wraps it up for this assignment. Next assignment, we're going to talk about how to get in on the continuations of trends, because here we talked about how to get in on reversals. So I am super excited that you guys are following along. I'm super excited that you guys were able to kind of see how everything that you have learned up until this point comes together and is applicable to the market, okay? Just like I mentioned before, it's like a cake. You literally have all these different ingredients, and all of the different ingredients separately don't taste good together, but when you mix them all up, it's this wonderful tasting phenomenal cake. That's how you want to look at the market. So whether you're looking at your zones, your trend lines, literally your divergence, whether you're looking at your Fibonacci, whether you're looking at your structure, individually, it might not make sense until you continue to practice it, continue to see it, and then add it all together so that you guys can really have the full picture and make money from the totality of the movements that are occurring. So again, that's it for right now in this session, and I will see you guys on the next video. Hi, you guys. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. I know I have students all over, so I want to address each of you appropriately. I'm super excited as we go into this session because we are literally grasping everything, okay? Last session, what we did was kind of add everything together up until this point. You guys know that your entries are based off of your trend line breaks and retests. Such a simple concept that a lot of people miss in trading, but again, remember, trading is three things: where to get in, where to get out, and where is it going. So just because you have a trend line break and retest, you always have to understand the direction in which the market is moving. And by your fibs, you always understand where you need to get out of the market, okay? So again, I'm super excited because you guys are learning how to make money. And that's one of the most powerful places to be in life, is to be able to be self-sufficient, but not only that, to have a skill set that you will literally never have lack. You will never lack in anything once you learn this skill set, apply it, and you are able to literally teach generations to come, okay? So what we're doing today, we're dealing with our trend line breaks and retests again. However, it's a little bit different from our last assignment. I'm actually going to scoot this chart down and show you guys the difference in our structure, all right? So what you're doing for this assignment is I want you guys to kind of go back to your Fibonacci structure where you found all of your 7 fib levels, but this time I want you to identify your trend line break and retest inside of your fib structure. All right. Now, the reason that is different from last assignment was because last assignment we were dealing with, of course, higher highs and higher lows and lower highs, dealing with our trends. And as you guys know, 2 points validate a trend line. Let me actually put this in a different color. I'm gonna put this on top of here. So 2 points validate a trend line, and then you draw the line into the future right here. Ultimately, this would be my break here, okay? And then this would be my retest. And remember, we added together our divergence along with our negative 61.8 that would tell us that a reversal is coming. But we dealt with the trend line breaks and retests of the change in structure. Now we're dealing with our trend line breaks and retests to see the continuation of a trend. It's 2 separate things, okay? To see the continuation of a trend, let's say I have a fib structure here, let's say point A to point B. What I'm trying to do when I'm trying to see the direction of my trend or trying to get in on the pullback of my trend is once I have point A to point B, remember price will pull back to a certain fib level. I want to see where inside of this fib level I'm going to get in so that I can catch the continuation of the trend ultimately to hit my TP1. All right. That's very, very, very important. It's very, very important. It's very simple. However, a lot of people can make it complex, right? So again, opposed to identifying the trend line breaks and retests of the shift in structure, all right, which is a downtrend turning into an uptrend or an uptrend turning into a downtrend. What you are doing in this particular assignment is you guys are identifying the trend line break and retest inside of your fib structure, okay? So you see here, we literally have point A to point B, price pulls back, and then we continue down for our TP1, all right? Now, I want you to look at this, okay? Inside of this, I have identified my break and my retest. Remember, you need 2 points to validate the trend line drawn into the future. Now, the beautiful thing about trend line breaks and retests, okay, is that there's always multiple opportunities to enter the market. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you miss this entry right here. Okay, remember, all you need is 2 points. So let's say I literally delete these boxes here, okay? And let's say I look at my trend line to be here. All right. I'm looking at point 1, point 2, draw that line into the future. My break and my retest would be here. All right. So then this will end up being my red box and my blue box where I have that break and that retest. And we're on major structure right now. We're on this we're on this 1 hour time frame. All right. But let me scoot this over. Okay. We're on this 1 hour time frame. I'm going to drop down so you guys can see that price actually pushed away. Here, we're on this 30-minute time frame. You see how price pushed away, came back. It broke the trend line, retested this area, then went into that sell structure. Now, another thing I want to show you guys in this is, again, it's very important that you guys are practicing seeing the different trends inside of your trends, because even in here, Based off of minor structure, we have minor structure trends inside of our overall trend. I don't know if you guys can see any of them. I see actually a few trade opportunities that could have been taken advantage of. Here is one right here, impulse, correction, continuation. And this is what people talk about when they say they trade inside of consolidation. Now, trading inside of consolidation, I don't want to kind of change concepts from the actual trend line break and retest, but I do feel like it's very important to note is only when you're at those monthly and weekly levels. So right here, the reason it's consolidated so long on this percentage level is because we were literally at a foundation level, okay? All right, and remember, these are my practice charts that I'm showing you guys on, not my actual trading charts. So I'm just showing you guys how the flow of the market occurs. But this will literally be, do you see how this is point A, point B, price pulled back, hit negative 61.8, and then reverse. Point A, point B, price pulled back, hit negative 61.8, then went into this uptrend. Even if we put a fib on that uptrend structure, we have point A, point B, price hit our negative 27, then reversed, all right? We have that happening back to back to back to back to back to back to back. But again, you have to be able to see both structures. The minor structure is your right now money. These are trades that when people say, oh, I flipped my account, I did this, I did that. They are literally flipping their account so quickly by being able to see the price that is inside of the overall price. And as you guys see, this is a day trade that literally went 80 pips, all right? Now, if you were only waiting on the major structure trade, as you guys would have seen, this consolidated in this area for 12 days, all right? So it's very important that you guys like really, really remember these things and really take heed to them, okay? Now, I want you guys to go through, and for your homework, what you're gonna do is find all 7 fib levels, again, all 7 fib levels on whatever pairs it is that you're trading, all right? Then identify the trend line, break, and retest for each fib structure. Now, the reason I say for each fib structure opposed to each fib level is because as you guys saw on this one right here, this pulled back to 38.2. However, this break and retest occurs at 23.6. This is still a 38.2 pullback. It doesn't change the fact that price pulled back to 38.2. And of course, we have multiple touches. So we have right here, right here, right here. And again, price consolidated in this range for a while. But it doesn't change the fact that that's a 38.2 pullback. It just so happens to be that we didn't get into that entry until right here. All right. So I just wanted to clarify that. And it's also very important because when people say, hey, there are 7 fib levels, but how do I know when price is going to stop? How do I know when price isn't going to keep pulling back and going to the next fib level? That is what your trend lines are for, so that you can confirm, okay, this is no longer going up. We broke structure and now it's going into the sell. All right. I hope you guys grasp that. Make sure you guys take notes on what I'm saying. Same thing right here. We have point A to point B, price pulled back. Now this will be more of a minor structure break and retest. I'm gonna go on actual 15 minutes so you guys can see that actual push away. All right, it's very important that you're able to see. So I have point 1, point 2. Again, draw it into the future. Even though this broke through a little bit, it respected under it, closed under it. All right. Then we have its break, price retest here, and then literally ultimately goes into that buy structure. All right. So I want you again to practice all of these. And I do just want to regurgitate one more time the difference between last assignment and this assignment is actually seeing the structure of the pullback opposed to the reversal. If we were looking at the structure of the reversal, let's say we took this trend here. I'm gonna put a trend line from here to here, and I'm just doing this for example purposes, all right? So we have point 1, point 2, draw it into the future. We have trend line bounce, trend line bounce. We see here this wick. wick. This one didn't actually touch, but then we have that break and that retest, all right? Let's move the fib for a second so you can see clearly, okay? I'm gonna move this also, but this will be the trend line break and retest of a change in direction in the market. That would be your break. This would be your retest. That would be your entry for now, that new overall buy. All right? Very important concept. That's why I'm being redundant, because again, I want to make sure you guys got it. And then if you saw, I didn't mean to delete that so quickly, but if you guys saw, let me put this back in blue. If you guys saw that structure, all right, remember, that's your major structure break and retest. But remember, what do we always have before we have a major structure break and retest? There's always a minor structure opportunity that we can take advantage of. All right, so we have here, trend line, okay? It breaks here. This is just such a perfect example. And again, once you guys get really comfortable with the market, just like I'm able to just spot these things, you guys will be able to spot them. Remember, I equate it to like a parent teaching their child how to play basketball. I can show you guys all day long, but until you actually practice this and put it into application, it is not going to work. Make sure you guys study, and practice it. A child literally gathers their form in basketball once they continuously go outside and practice that shot. And that goes for anything. If it's a girl, let's say, or I mean, of course, some women play basketball, but it can literally be any sport or whatever, all right? So this is that minor structure. And again, now from that minor structure buy, okay, and me being able to see the minor structure before the major structure, I'm able to capitalize off of 157 pips, okay, before the major structure move plays out. And the reason that's so important is because, again, you want to make the most money possible, right? Not to say you want to be greedy, because of course, in the risk management section and the psychology section, we already learned about greed. However, when you have the opportunities available in the market, you definitely want to take them. So this is the break, the retest. This literally goes for 157 pips there. And then this major structure break and retest. Actually, let me hit this play button because this went for a while. So that ends up playing out well over 200 pips, but you guys see what I mean about the major structure and the minor structure, okay? So I hope you guys learned a lot on today's session. Next session, okay, we're putting all the ingredients together. Last session, we kind of put the ingredients together, but now you're gonna see, if you just have a blank chart, how to really add together everything that you have learned thus far, okay? Now, I'm gonna go over you guys practicing these things in the next section and how you guys actually apply it. However, with this assignment, remember, find all 7 fib levels on whatever pairs that you trade, and then identify the trend line break and retest inside of that fib structure, just so you guys can kind of, again, start training your eyes to see them. All right, talk to you soon, and bye-bye. Hi, you guys, and welcome to the last and final assignment prior to the top-down analysis 4 weeks, okay? So this assignment is extremely important and something that I felt like I needed to throw into the automated course, strictly because you guys need to be able to see the right now money and revisit that assignment number 2 and understand how it correlates or ties into your Fibonacci. So when you get to the next assignment, as you guys know, the last 4 weeks of the course are crunch time. So you're doing a top-down analysis Friday when the market closes, and it has to be done by Sunday by the time the market opens. And you'll be doing that assignment for 4 weeks, literally honing in and making sure your analysis are spot on prior to you guys actually trading. Now, with this particular assignment, okay, what you're doing is training your eyes to see the right now money. If you guys have been on Sunday night calls, I talk all the time about seeing that right now money. What is the right now move? That's the intraday move that you need to be able to see to capitalize on your trades, okay? So what your actual homework assignment is, you are going to find all 7 fib levels on each pair on major structure, then break down, or let me put it, then identify the minor structure fib inside of the overall major structure move. Okay, so here we are. Let's revisit assignment number 2 so that this all makes sense first, okay? So what do we have? We have point A to point B, price, let me put the lock on. Point A to point B, price pulls back, then pushes down further. So we have our impulse, correction, continuation, all right? Now, if I put my fib on here, we have point A to point, ooh, it's catching. Okay, so we have our point A to point B right here. Price pulls back, and as you guys all see, this here, our TP1 right here with this negative 27, all right? So remember this right here, you always want it at the low, so that is that structure, all right? Then price continues, but we're only gonna deal with what we have right here for me to explain this. So that's our 4-hour structure. Now, you guys already know from your second assignment, literally you go down to 1-hour structure, then identify the 1-hour trends inside of the overall trend, right? So what is our 1-hour structure that you guys see here? Let's just work with the middle so that we all see this structure that's going on. So I'm gonna put impulse, correction, continuation here, all right? Then I have this new low here. So my next overall structure, we have this impulse here. I'm gonna use purple, correction, continuation for 1-hour structure. Now it's super important that you guys always understand where you are in the market. So if you look right here in the background, what does this dotted line mean? You guys should all know that this dotted line that's literally going through the middle of price means that is our weekly level, which means what? What did you guys learn on that very first assignment? The weekly level is a foundation level, which literally means consolidation. So you have a lot of consolidation going on right here in regards to this 1-hour structure move. All right. Now, a question that I want to clear up that I'm pretty sure is in all you guys' brains, why didn't I pick this first peak? If you guys have really been on the Zoom calls and just like been following along, and Faith emphasized it also, is when you have something that's literally near the same high. So let's say we literally just make this all a flag. This a flag and this a flag, right? This is all the same vicinity, right? Which means that if I were to put a fib on this structure and I only use this first high, this is why in the second assignment I say do not trace price. If I only use this first high, do you see how that fib structure never completes, right? Now, when you're at an actual trade, you know you're not entering anything without a break and a retest first anyway, okay? So after I see this fib structure did not fully play out, I'm going to adjust my fib so that would be my actual fib structure. So that is why I did not highlight that first peak, then drop back down, then move to the second peak, because there's minor structure inside of the overall structure that you'll be able to take advantage of. So now if I put my 1-hour fib here, and then let's say I drop down, put another 1-hour fib here. So we have this impulse. Let's go to this last peak all the way down here. Adjust this. Okay. So we go to here, move this last peak all the way here. Like literally this is all of our structure, okay? Now it's getting kind of messy, so I'm gonna delete some of the overall fibs. So I'm gonna delete the 4-hour off since we already see, or since we already saw where that went, because I don't want this to be too confusing to you guys, but these are our 1 hour structures, all right? Now, I'm gonna delete the 1 hour structure and show you guys what you're actually doing for your homework. Actually, we can keep some of the 1 hour structures on since it doesn't look as messy anymore, but I am gonna delete the 4 hour off so you guys can only see these 1 hour moves right here. So we have that. Let's actually get this one also. Let's get impulse correction continuation in regards to 1 hour structure. So we used purple for our downtrend. So let's go impulse correction continuation. All right. So everybody see this 1 hour structures. That's all through here. So we have 1 hour fibs. Now, your homework assignment is you're going to identify the structure inside of structure. So that 4 hour to 1 hour was just me showing you guys, okay, this is the second assignment. This is understanding each time frame structure. But you guys know both your 1 hour and your 4 hour are your major structures. And your 30 minutes and 15 minutes are your minor structures. So you guys have a choice here. You could either do overall 4 hour structure and break that time frame down, or you can work with this 1 hour structure and break that time frame down, okay? So you can either break down your 1 hour into your 15 or your 30, okay? Or your 4 hour into your 30, okay? So if I look at each one of these 1 hour fibs, there is a minor structure fib that's here. So for your actual homework, of course, you're not gonna have like your impulse correction continuation on there. Like when you guys see my charts on Sundays, I don't have all of this, okay? I just drew that on there to make sure everybody was following along with me. But in all actuality, your charts are not going to have that, like your trading charts, okay? So let's delete this all off. So for your actual homework, let's say, okay, you see this. This never hit our 50%, so we're at a 38.2 pullback. So you would screenshot this major structure, all right? This 1 hour major structure, impulse correction continuation, and then you would say, okay, this is my 38.2. So you would copy the link, and I don't know however you guys save your homeworks, but you would have your 38.2, literally put the link for that, and then drop down to your minor structure. So again, our minor structure for our 1 hour is our 15 minute here. So what do you see? We have a lot of structures inside of this overall structure, okay? And you can use any of them, whichever ones you feel comfortable with. And I don't need more than one, like you don't have to do more than one. The whole thing is to just make sure you're able to see the structure inside of that structure. Because again, when you're near these foundation levels, you see like this weekly, this is all consolidation. But that doesn't mean that you can't trade inside of that consolidation. You have so many minor structure fibs that you can take advantage of inside of there. So you see that's a downtrend, right? We have impulse correction continuation. Here's another downtrend. And again, you don't have to send me, or you don't have to do more than one, just do literally whichever one you see, and that's a structure inside of a structure, okay? So again, this assignment, you're just practicing seeing your minor structure inside of your overall structure. If I go to this uptrend over here, I scooted this fib over, so let me just scoot it back over here, and this is here. If I zoom in right here, right, this overall structure, we have a whole downtrend here. So literally, let's say we go from here, point A to point B, price pulls back, hits our negative 27. That is that minor structure inside of the overall uptrend that is there. If I go to this fib over here, same thing. We have multiple structures we can take advantage of. If I go right here, I have literally a fib inside of a fib structure, point A to point B, price hits negative 61.8, and then reverses. And you see even this one up here, which these two are actually very similar to 30-minute fibs opposed to 15, but either way, these are both actually, yeah, these are 30-minute structures, even though you can see them on your 15-minute right here. Your actual 15-minute move would be like here, this structure, point A to point B, and this hitting like this negative 61.8. So I just want to make sure you guys can see the difference. So we have impulse, correction, continuation. This is like your overall 30-minute, right? Inside of there. Then this 15-minute that you see inside of here, I have impulse, correction, continuation. Also right here, impulse, correction, continuation. They happen over and over and over again. Remember, minor structure can always easily be broken. So you see how here, point A, point B, price pulls back, continues. That is the actual TP that's hit, and then price continues further. So even though price didn't reverse at that negative 61.8, you always have to remember that when you're on minor structure, price isn't going to always reverse in regards to 15-minute structure, because the overall move still needs to be made. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, so where you are in the course, like in regards to the course material, nothing that I just said should confuse you at all. If it did, then you definitely need to go back and rewatch assignment number 2 and practice your fibs, because all of this should have been like very, 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 very clear. All right. Practice this again going into the next assignment, which actually, this is actually a bonus assignment for you guys, because my private students did not have this particular assignment at all, just because for you guys, because you guys are automated, I just want to make sure you guys are able to see this minor structure before going into your top-down analysis weeks. So I love you guys, and I can't wait to hear about all you guys' success. Again, next week is crunch time, so just prepare your minds for that. You'll be doing all your top-down analysis again Friday when the market closes, and it needs to be done before Sunday when the market opens. And then you will literally keep your buyers patterns on your chart so that you see your price play out, no different than what I do every Sunday night call. So I will talk to you guys later, and a good day. Okay, so what you're doing from now until the end of the course is literally a top-down analysis. So for the next 4 weeks, everything that you've learned up until this point, we're putting it on hold. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
So don't try to enter none of these. You are not trading right now at all. All right. I want to emphasize it, keep emphasizing it, like you're not trading right now. What you're doing is a top-down analysis. So you're going to start on a monthly time frame. The only thing you haven't learned in this course up until this point is zones. I talked about it briefly when we went over trend lines the very first time, when I talked about like sometimes I draw a supply and demand zone.
Yeah, supply and demand zone, yeah.
A supply and demand zone is basically an area of support and resistance in one area, but I'm not going to draw a line like this for this one area right here. So you want to use zones when you come across those areas. Also, the main thing that you need to know, especially about this portion of the course, is that this is well, first off, remember at the beginning of the course when I told you we're coming back to our foundation levels?
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
Okay.
So you're gonna, if you deleted them, put them back on. If you used a different broker, just pull that broker back up. But basically, what you're doing is understanding one, structure, but also structure through understanding what's happening and how you're going to do your markups. So I use different colors for mine. For the monthly and the weekly, I use gold. I look at it as the golden age, golden era, old people, old time frame, the golden girls, like that's gold. Daily, I use red. I look at it as danger. It's not really danger, but it's aware. So it's not as high of a time frame as a monthly and a weekly, but it's not as low as the 1 hour or the 4 hour. So you need to be aware of it. The 4 hour, that's money. So I use green for that. And then the 1 hour, I use blue because, you know what I'm saying, your MetaTrader 4 when you're in profit is blue.
Yeah.
All right. So you can use whatever color codes that you want or whatever colors you want for your top-down analysis. Those just the colors I use and why. So if you look on this monthly, price respected the highs, meaning price did not break through, not break through, not break through. But on the lows, price, you have support level, price broke here. And right now, this is retesting this entire triangular structure. You see that?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to write on the monthly, price respected the highs, but broke through the low and is now retesting structure. Is retesting the whole structure. Now what you're going to do is drop down to the weekly. So now I'm on the weekly time frame. Now on this weekly, what I'm going to do is look at structure and literally see what's happening. So on this weekly, I look at past price because past price always determines the future. But this is the thing about this part of the course. You can have completely separate trend lines from mine, and we have the exact same answer at the end. So I'm not really a stickler about where your trend lines need to be drawn and all of that because it's based off of what you see. But like me and all my students can have different like trend lines in different areas, but still come up with the exact same direction. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this you can't put in the box because it's always multiple trend lines that can be drawn. But if I look at the weekly, this is a trend that literally broke and retested for the buy. So on this, I'm just going to write on the weekly, price was in a downtrend, but broke and retested for the buy. And that's that. Now what I'm going to do, of course, is drop down to the daily. On the daily, what I'm looking at is this past structure here. This was an entire downtrend. So I'm just going to put this here. This was in a downtrend. Put this solid. Price literally broke, retested this downtrend.
Retested the weekly downtrend.
Daily. So
I mean,
this,
sorry. Yeah. Broke,
yeah.
tested the weekly and retested.
Yes. So right here, you saw we didn't see this trend line on the weekly, but we see it on a daily. So what you're doing is scaling in the structures that you see. Also on the daily is where I kind of look at current structure also. So if I draw this trend line here, we have 0.1, 2, 3 drawn into the future. So then you see price broken, retested up here. But I'm just going to write on the daily. On the daily previous structure, price was in a downtrend, but broke and retested for the buy. On current daily structure, price is in an uptrend, respected all the lows, and just broke for the sell. So price respected all the lows, just now breaking for this sell. So now what I'm going to do is drop down to, of course, the 4 hour. And again, everything you're doing, you're just scaling down structure. So you already know from literally your entire course, like what is 4 hour structure. We can see it clear as day. So we have impulse, correction, continuation. All right. So this is where I draw my fibs and my zones on 4 hours and below. So this is where I start to draw my fibs, my zones and everything. So I'm just going to put a fib structure here just so we can see where we are in relation to the market. We have point A to point B, price pull back. Literally, you see it hit negative 61.8 off a 4 hour structure and then dropped. Now, I'm not going to draw. I had a whole bunch of zones all the way over here that I was deleting before you hopped on, but I'm just going to draw like the 4 hour current zones that we see. So I'm just going to put literally a zone. I would say this whole area. Really, we can say this whole little area here. And again, I use green for the 4 hour. All right. So this is a whole support. It came down, tested, support. And then right now, this is our current structure. But on the 4 hour, we're just going to write what happened. on the 4-hour, price hit negative 61.8 and TP2 and reversed, dropped to our 4-hour supply and demand zone and respected it. Do you have any questions about what I did so far before I go to the 1 hour?
Yeah, I
What's
was
your
gonna hold it. I was gonna hold it by exit. I think I could just ask it. So now that we've drawn that original fib and we've hit 61.8 essentially, and we see that market's turning back, do we draw a reverse fib for the trend line as well immediately?
I didn't get down to minor structure.
Okay.
None of that yet. But based off of what you see so far in the past, do you have any questions on any other trend lines or anything I drew previously?
No, I clearly got that. Completely
Okay.
understand that. Yeah.
All right, so now we get into our structure. So you already know structure inside of structure, like these are trends within trends. We learned this literally second assignment. So this is where you can start to like draw all of your, you know what I'm saying, 1 hour, 4 hours, so forth and so on. So this is, let's say we draw this, I'll say about here. All right, so based off of this impulse down, so we have point A, point B, price pullback. All right. The past doesn't matter when it comes to 1 hour and 4 hours because once they're, the past doesn't matter when it comes to your previous, like these were all fibs all inside of here. But again, I deleted them so that it could be more clear for you to understand. But we don't care about the past fibs in the past all through here just because they're all finished, right?
Yeah.
So based off of this current 1 hour structure, we have point A to point B, price pull back, okay? Literally hit our 4 hour supply and demand zone at our negative 27, pull back again, then came down and hit our negative 61.8.
Yeah. Okay.
Follow me so far?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Then price reverse. So let's just write on here. Also, I had zones all in here. I don't remember where I had them, so I'm just gonna draw new ones. But I had a zone. I think I had one like all through here. I had a 1 hour zone. This was support, came up, tested as resistance, came down, literally broke through this level, came back, tested as support, came back, support, pushed back up, then dropped. You see it?
Yeah.
All right. And then where was the other one? I think it was at the top of these. All right. It was like that structure somewhere in there. But anyway, so now we're gonna write what happened on the 1 hour. So on 1 hour structure, price hit negative 61.8 and reversed. All right, now these again, these were all fibs inside of here. So literally I had a fib, I think it was like, they were all up inside of here. Let me go to 30-minute structure. Pull my box down. All right. So my first fib, I think it was over here. So yeah, because that hit negative 61.8, then that's done. I just am trying to remember where I was before this. All right, that hit negative 27, and then, okay, so yeah, that's right. All right, so these are all minor structures inside of here. So point A, point B, this hit negative 61.8, reverse point A, point B, price hit negative 27, respected this supply and demand zone, then dropped. These have been like on the call recently.
Yeah.
But here is like current structure. So this morning I had a buy for Euro JPY because one, this had hit negative 61.8. It was in this zone. It was just like price can't go nowhere else. So all you're gonna do is give me an analysis. I meant to delete this. Damn, why is it two? I meant to delete this. But all you're
That was
gonna
spot on
do,
though.
huh?
That was bang on the money.
The what?
That's fractal. I think was accurate. Was like match for match.
Oh, yeah. So you all you do is find them inside of structure. So I think I had gotten this one from like right here. And it doesn't matter like what it like, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what it looks like, but you just want to find an uptrend. Like even if it's not exact, like my eyes just see it. But even if it's something like this, you just need something to get you from point A to point B. Like this is still correct.
Yeah.
But the reason I had this going here this morning was because again, we were at negative 61.8. On the 15-minute, this was divergence right here and right there. And then I just, we were literally, we had three confirmations, negative 61.8, a zone, divergence. And now my analysis is to literally come to this trend line. So I'm actually still in this trade right now. But my analysis was to come to this trend line because again, if you have 2 points, you draw point one, point two, draw it into the future. So this just not finished playing out, but this is what your chart's gonna look like when you send it to me. All right. So it's going to look like Sunday night calls. So literally when you send me your analysis, it will look like this. You will, well, let me finish writing this out first. So what happened? Let's go back. So let's go back a second. On previous 30-minute structure, which is current structure, point A, point B, price pullback, hit negative 61.8, respected our 4-hour supply and demand zone, pushed up, broke through our 1-hour zone, respected our second 1-hour zone, came down, tested as support, pulled back off of this new minor structure, point A, point B, price pulled back, and then literally dropped to our negative 61.8.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
Okay, does it make sense?
Yeah, still makes sense.
All right, so all you're gonna do is literally a top-down analysis on each of your charts.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just finish writing this. Price hit our negative 61.8 and reversed on minor structure. Price hit, let's hit negative 27, TP1, respected our previous supply and demand zone, then drop. This is where I'm at right now. So price hit this negative 27 and it never reached and made it to this negative 61.8 one because we were in a zone right here. So price only made it to negative 27, but it didn't surpass it because it respected our previous supply and demand zone, which is here. Okay. Then drop down. All right. I will say then dropped down, testing our second 1-hour supply and demand zone, pulled back, testing our 30-minute zone as resistance, then continued down to complete the fib structure. All right, so let me walk you through what I just typed. So on the 1-hour, price hit negative 61.8 in reverse. This is over here. So remember, this was our 1-hour fib. Point A, point B, price pullback. It literally hit our negative 61.8. Now, this fib we don't really need because that one's over and done with. That's what I mean by the minor structures. Once they're done, they're done. So this is done. We don't need to do nothing else with it. But with this current fib, I always talk about like what just happened before we go into what happens next. So here, point A, point B, price pullback, hit negative 27, respected our zone, dropped down to our 1 hour, which is literally where we have this first level of support on this fall. Okay, pulled back to our 30-minute zone. This is a 30-minute zone that I had here. Everything that's 30-minute, I draw in purple or black. So here, this is our 30-minute. This was support tested as resistance. So where I put here, right here where I put on minor structure, price hit negative 27 and then reversed, it said I put it dropped down, testing our second 1 hour zone, which is right here, pulled back, testing our 30-minute, and then continued the fib structure. So impulse, correction, and continuation. You got it?
Yep.
Now what you're going to do is write your expectation. You just write wherever you have price going next. So now I am expecting price to push up and test our 30-minute trend line. And that's it. So when you send me your analysis, it's going to look just like this. Like all I want to see is your bars pattern. And to find your bars pattern, all you do is just find something in the direction. Again, it doesn't have to be spot on. I just been doing this for a long time, but I just want the direction, and I only want it from point A to point B. Don't give me a huge bars pattern. Only give me what you see at that point. The reason I only have the bars pattern going here is because price can come here and then reject and push back down, or it can break and go to the next one. But you only literally mark up what you see. Okay. After that, what you're going to do is literally screenshot the structure. So you'll screenshot it, and that's it. So for this homework, you're only going to have, you are only going to have 7 charts from now on into the rest of the course, just like the first assignment. Okay. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
All right. So it's very important. 2 things. The first thing is from now on, your homework is due by 5 p.m. when the market opens. You will always have an analysis then. You're going to wait until the market closes on Fridays. Now, the first one will probably take you the longest, but after that, it shouldn't take you more than, I don't know, 2 hours to do all your markups at the most. But you're only doing it you're only doing 7 charts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, from now until the end of the course, you are going to do 7 markups, but this is the most important part. Do not delete this bars pattern at all. Like if you delete them, we won't have a session because it won't be nothing to grade you by. The whole goal is to see your analysis play out, and then we measure your pips, et cetera, et cetera.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
Got it.